From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up today on Ag Day, more help in the farm, but maybe not the human form.
Try to get more yield, more crops, more food.
Uncertainty and more questions surrounding the new Phase 1 trade agreement between the U.S. and China. Plus another announcement concerning ethanol from the EPA upsets the corn industry.
It isn't only the president's commitment, that's what the law requires.
Ag Day, presented by the Chevy Silverado and the all-new Silverado HD, the strongest, most advanced family of Silverados ever.
Good morning, I'm Betsy Gibbon. Clinton is on assignment. The Environmental Protection Agency is proposing new adjustments when it comes to the biodiesel industry, leaving farm and ethanol groups outraged. They say this isn't what they were promised by the Trump administration earlier in the month. Here's what's being proposed. The EPA wants to adjust the way it sets annual percentage requirements of how much renewable fuel refineries must blend into gasoline and diesel. The new proposal may look at what the Department of Energy recommends for small refinery waivers, take a 3-year average, and then possibly adjust from there. The EPA claims the proposal does not change fuel targets for 2020 and 2021. Corn groups argue the EPA may still adjust numbers to a recommendation it didn't even take by the DOE, granting more waivers, now leaving more questions. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley speaking on the issue.
Other people heard the agreement, and this agreement better be carried out by EPA. And I think that I have a healthy respect for the people that are having this outcry about how this might be carried out to add back in the gallons. But I'm going to count on the president carrying out his word.
The new proposal comes less than 2 weeks after the Trump administration unveiled a plan to help ease farmers' concerns about ethanol and increased demand. That move received backlash from oil companies. The agency is now seeking public comment on the new plan with a hearing later this month. A massive explosion and fire occurring at a San Francisco Bay Area tank farm. Just look at this video. We're told 2 tanks holding a combined 250,000 gallons of ethanol erupted in flames. One of the tanks collapsed. The fire shutting down the NuStar Energy's Selby terminal. The tank farm is one of several refining and fuel storage facilities in the Carquinez Strait. That's a major shipping thoroughfare and a key oil hub. The area is located about 30 miles northeast of downtown San Francisco. The blaze took 7 hours to bring under control. No one was injured. Officials say they did not immediately know the cause of the fire or whether there was any connection to a 4.5 magnitude earthquake Monday night in the central part of the county. New questions about the Phase 1 trade agreement between the U.S. and China. The Wall Street Journal reporting uncertainty surrounds China's commitment to buy U.S. ag. It cited questions remain over just how much and when China will be buying. President Trump saying last Friday China had agreed to buy between $40 and $50 billion worth of U.S. agriculture in less than 2 years. Chinese negotiators continue to say purchases must be based on actual demand and at fair market prices. Officials say it will take up to 5 weeks to see the official language of any conclusion to the Phase 1 agreements. It could be signed by President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the APEC meeting next month in Chile. President Trump talking more about the deal at the White House on Wednesday.
There's been a lot of goodwill between the United States and China over the last period of time. So we're signing from $40 to $50 billion, and that will, because it was incorrectly reported in the press, shockingly, that will take place. It's already started taking place. They're already purchasing a lot of farm product.
Some good news for California's avocado crop. The volume of harvest is exceeding expectations. That's despite a damaging heat wave as the fruit developed. Marketers say the California harvest could be as much as 30% higher than preseason estimates. Even so, the harvest was relatively small. The California Avocado Commission says the upcoming crop could be much larger if weather remains favorable. The avocado season officially ends at the end of October. Farmers in portions of the country are getting a string of good days in the field to bring in the harvest. Meteorologist Cindy Clausen has more.
Well, Betsy, it's a busy time right now in Michigan. Corey Jorgensen sharing this video on Twitter. He said he wrapped up soybeans earlier this week, swapped out the heads on the combine, and now he's moving on to corn. And look at that beautiful sky, just what farmers in Michigan need right now. I'll have more on your national forecast coming up, but for now, here are your hometown temps.
Introducing Farm Journal TV, on demand 24/7. AgDay, Machinery Pete TV. U.S. Farm Report on your phone and tablet. Download the Farm Journal TV mobile app today.
A fifth person has died in Michigan from eastern equine encephalitis. That brings the total number of deaths in the nation to 12. Among those sickened by the mosquito-borne illness, 2 farmers in southwest Michigan. Friends of Bill Teichman report on his GoFundMe page that he is now receiving physical therapy and has improved slightly. That includes making some hand movements and at one point lifting his forearm. Fellow farmer Jim Whitwright has been in the hospital for more than 50 days. They say on his GoFundMe page he still is hanging in there and fighting the good fight. They say they are waiting for the day he can wake up. We check in on how the competition is doing when it comes to growing grains. That's ahead in today's analysis. And later, wouldn't it be great to have some help on the farm when it comes to looking at pests, disease, and weeds? See what these robots can do.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
The grain markets, except for wheat, sagging on Wednesday as traders await more information on what will happen with China. Here's an update from the CME.
Today in the grain market, soybeans were a little bit lower. The market is really consolidating a little bit after its run up. The futures are just taking a rest and the market is really poised for a little correction. Maybe this is the start of it. You know, unless we have more news about the talks, it seems like the technicals say that the market could be a little bit top heavy. So we just have to watch that. It doesn't mean that we won't continue to rally because it's still relatively strong overall, but we are in harvest time, so other issues could start to take notice and could have a little bit of an effect on this market. Now, hogs were easier today. Skepticism about the trade resolution has got everybody wringing their hands. I think that the traders are still like hanging on to yesterday's rally, so that is pretty good from that standpoint, but they're cautious. These prices are very, very fragile, and we are just one headline away from the market cracking and going all the way back down.
Corn demand isn't so great right now, but could that change in the future? Tyne Morgan dives into the grain markets in today's analysis from our Kansas City newsroom.
Here now with Brian Bastine of Advanced Trading. Brian, recently we had a fairly bullish USDA grain stocks report. You know, I have a lot of farmers asking me, can this last? Can this momentum last? Is there a clear-cut answer to that?
I think the best thing we can share with your viewers, Tyne, is to remember what happened this summer, i.e. markets change and they can change very fast. Now from a producer side, it has changed in a favorable direction here following the stocks report. We want to give this market an opportunity to move the upside to its full extent. However, we really want to encourage your viewers to think about getting control of your 2019 bushels, getting the floor underneath the market now that we've had a rebound, and yet giving the market room to rally to the upside. Options are a tool that can do that.
So do you think it's a possibility we do rally to the upside, you know, considering we still don't have a lot of this crop in and we do not know what our national average yield is going to be? And as you told me before we started this conversation, USDA's yield number right now nationally is pretty stout.
Yeah, I would think that would apply to both not only corn but also soybeans at this point in time. We're encouraging growers to remember, however, that it's supply and demand. Supply could decline, not a guarantee on these reduction in yields in the U.S., but recall that demand is just as important, and right now our corn demand, for example, on the export side is historically weak.
Yeah, corn demand just stinks. I mean, there's no way around it. It stinks right now, Brian. Where do we need to see some of that demand possibly come from to create that bullish demand story that could possibly then help prices?
There's always some wild cards out there that no one sees coming time. One of them could be a Chinese deal. The other one now is we get in the fields to harvest our 2019 crop. South America is just starting to plant their 2020 crop. Always a possibility of a weather issue moving forward. That will be for next year's crop in Brazil and Argentina. But between now and then, really the competition is going to be extremely strong.
But you can't bank on weather issues in South America. Do you still think options are a good strategy for that?
I do. I think the options give you a floor in the market where we actually locked in a price. But should something happen, should the U.S. yields continue to falter, should we see some Chinese business, should we see some weather eventually develop in South America, those options give you the flexibility to be a participant on the upside.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll have a check of weather right here on AgDay.
To talk with Brian one-on-one, call Advanced Trading at 800-664-2314 or head online to advanced-trading.com. Join Andrew McRae for Farming the Countryside, a farmer-focused podcast that is all about production agriculture. Farming the Countryside is available wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and is brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions, the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services.
Welcome back to Ag Day with meteorologist Cindy Clausen. Well, Cindy, just in from NOAA, this past September ties with 2015 as the warmest September on record for the planet.
I know, yeah, another record broken. But, you know, when you look at it just for the lower 48 states, it was the second warmest September for those lower 48, especially in the south and southeast. 5 states had record warmth and only 8 were near normal. That's mainly in the west. Every other state saw above or much above normal temperatures. And this is probably no surprise, but we continue with the trend for warmer temperatures at night, especially from the Corn Belt into the southern plains. But yeah, you can see those red states is where they actually had record warmth in September. All right, what do we have to look forward to as we move on through the rest of this week? Here we go. The main weather makers as we head through the day are going to be in the northeast with this low pressure system, and then also we're going to see some active weather, a couple of different fronts moving through the northwest. So that's where we're going to see the rain, and in some of the higher elevations we could see some flakes there. In the nation's midsection we see more dry weather. That's great for those folks that are trying to get that corn harvest done. As we put this into motion, that high pressure moves slowly to the east, so still a lot of dry weather in much of the upper Midwest, down in through the plain states, the Corn Belt, where the rain stays in the northeastern United States with that very slow moving low pressure system, and we'll keep some rain and higher elevation snow into the northwest. Moving into the overnight hours, everything just moves a little bit further to the east. Not a whole lot of moisture with this front yet. That'll pick up some more moisture as we get a little bit further to the east. Now we do have a stormy system that's down in the Gulf, and so we may see a little bit of that right along the Gulf Coast states. Now as we look at the precipitation, most of it has been in the northeastern United States. You can see there some areas over 3 inches, and we've also had some wet weather in the northwest. We're going to continue with that trend, especially in the northeastern United States, and you see right along the northwest coast. As far as snow, yeah, some of it's going to be snow. It hasn't been much so in the last 24 hours, but when you add on the next day, we do see some of those higher elevations with a bit of snow. Temperatures on the warm side as we get into the plains, a little cooler though, especially in the northeast and northwest. Overnight, we're going to see those temperatures getting down not so bad into the 30s and 40s across the northern tier states, and some 50s and 60s down south. Tomorrow we'll see those warmer temperatures starting to slide a little bit further to the east, not quite so far north, but we still have a lot of 70s down in the south central United States, remaining cool in the northeast and in the northwest. That's your national forecast. Now let's check on the weather where you live. Salmon, Idaho, much cooler today with some showers possible and a high of 56 degrees. Ramsey, Illinois, plenty of sunshine for you with a high of 58. And due west, South Carolina, sunny and cooler with a high of 69.
Check out this giant pumpkin. The Napa, California man who grew it won over $15,000 at the annual Safeway World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off. It happened in Half Moon Bay, California. That pumpkin weighing in at over 2,100 pounds, setting a new California record. This was the 46th annual Pumpkin Weigh-Off in Half Moon Bay. Coming up, the search for some cattle rustlers gets a big boost. Plus, meat-free burgers land in a new country, next in Drovers.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
It's one of the largest cattle rustling cases in recent memory, and now a reward is being offered for information. The Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association is now offering a cash reward of $25,000. According to investigators, rustlers stole 489 steers from a ranch near Wichita Falls, Texas, in the northern part of the state. It happened sometime between November of last year and August of this year. The rancher didn't know the cattle were stolen until shipping time because he operates a large ranch. The steers are valued at $735,000. Each steer had a brand on the left hip. Finally, cattle producers have some good news: improved cattle prices. And Drover's editor Greg Henderson says that's helping to improve the mood.
You know, since the fire, and that's been almost 2 months ago now, cattle prices have, cash-fed cattle prices have improved at least $10 a hundredweight, and that's improved margins. They were losing, feed yards were losing $200 a head at the time. The spread between packer profits and feed yard margins reached $618 according to John Nalivka's Sterling Beef Profit Tracker. We've cut that in half, and so as of last week, packers were making about $220 a head. Feed yards were losing somewhere on average of around $40 a head. So it's not great. It's not where we want it to be, but it is a lot better than it was just a month ago.
Henderson says he's expecting demand to improve from now through the holidays from the retail sector. He says supplies are down. The meat-free burger has arrived in Russia. The plant-based products are being served up at a TGI Fridays location in Moscow. The restaurant chain teamed up with Beyond Meat. The patty is produced using protein from peas. It's prepared in the TGI Fridays kitchen in much the same way as meat burgers are grilled. In Russia, TGI Fridays has developed two products. There's the Beyond Burger, which costs 499 rubles or $7.75 in American dollars. There's also the My Way, which sells for 599 rubles or $9.30 in American. While meat substitutes make their debut on regular menus, the head of Russia's National Meat Association says meat is popular in Russia. Where do you think farming will be 5 years from now or even 10 years? What these machines could one day be doing on the farm of the future? Next.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
What will the farm of the future look like? A Kansas State ag engineering expert believes robots will be a big part of it. He gives us a look at what students are working on right now.
By 2050, we're going to have over 9 billion people on this planet. And to feed that many people, we have to do twice as much food as what we're doing now. And so we have some things to really focus on, things to, from a multi-vector, try to get better at is, we're doing different things with plants, with yield, with precision ag. But one thing we're also working on is automation. So the robots would go out and scout the farmer's field for him. And so they would look for pests, they would look for disease, weeds, things like that. And this would give the farmer a much more detailed view of the field. And so the farmer, the producer, can go out and spray one certain spot of his field and not waste the chemical. So scout robots will be a real help to the producer to be able to send those out and having updates sent to his computer or his phone and on what's really going on with his field. And another class is behind me is our crop class. So these will actually do crop work. So they'll plant, harvest, spray. We're looking at high sloped hills where tractors can't go. And so these robots will be able to go out and plant on high sloped hills. And so therefore we're creating new arable land to try to get more yield, more crops, more food. Another class is the UAVs. Dr. Sharda, who is working with UAVs for remote sensing. And so doing a lot of the same thing as the scouting, but actually from the top of the canopy. And so looking down and trying to get a better idea of what's going on in the field. And so all these robots are being used together to really help and assist the producer to make more food and to do it sustainably.
Well, that's all the time we have this morning. We're glad you tuned in. For all of us here at AgDay, I'm Betsy Gibbon. Have a great day.
AgDay, brought to you by the Milk Business Conference. Don't miss this dairy business-focused event November 11th and 12th, 2019 in Las Vegas. Register today at milkbusinessconference.com.